But first, it is a big hello and welcome to our expert panel. Six-time Bathurst winner Mark Skaife and five-time Bathurst champion Garth Tanderb.
Hey, Jess.
Great to see you both, because this is the best time of the year as we count down to the Bathurst 1000. And it really is unlike any other sporting spectacle in Australia. It's almost really hard to describe to people that have never been just what captures our imaginations when we head to the mountain, the circuit, the history, the incredible moments that we've experienced there over the years. And no one knows that better than the two of you. If you had to describe it to someone or try and explain what makes Bathurst so special, what would you say?
Well, you need to give us a week, because there's a fair bit going on. It's just an incredible racetrack. That's the first thing. I mean, 6.2k, so fast. Brock used to say great racetracks have got consequences, and this is exactly what it is. If you make a mistake up there, huge shunts at that place. And then one of the things about it is that when you think about it as a street circuit, you get to attack it once a year really properly, and a lot of the sections have just become historic. And for me, the rivalries, the track layout itself is just immense. And to Stop the Nation Day in Australian sport, we absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate in Australia to have 4 or 5 sporting events that capture the sporting nation, and Bathurst is one of those. It's Melbourne Cup, Boxing Day Test, AFL, NRL Grand Final and Bathurst, and we're really fortunate to have that. The history about Bathurst, like 50 plus years of racing at Mount Panorama, and it takes you years as a race car driver to get the track right. It's not like you can turn up on the first weekend and say, oh, nailed it. You need to work your way up at Bathurst, because you get it wrong, it goes wrong massively.
There are so many layers, aren't there, to what makes Bathurst so special. And if we think back over the years, we've seen some incredible moments, from big shunts, to your point, to scenes on podiums, to incredible victories. For the two of you, when you think back over the decades that you've been visiting Bathurst, what are some of those real standout moments?
Well, for me, I don't think you can go by that unbelievable finish with Moffat and Bond in 1977. I was only 10 years of age. I was just captivated by the dominance that day of the Ford factory team. And for Moffat and Bond to win in such style as the factory organisation, have a look at that. I mean, Bondy probably should have rounded him up and won the race on that day, but there's obviously team orders. And then, fortunately, I was able to do it with Craig Lowndes as a consequence of the Vodafone effort in 2010. We were able to win there in a similar circumstance, and that one too is very special.
You wouldn't have said that if the team Vodafone car passed your car.
They're different rules, Garth.
Yeah, right,
They're different rules, you know that.
Yeah, funny that. For you, GT, when you think back, you know, when Bathurst first came on your radar, what are those moments that have really been meaningful for you?
For me, my earliest Bathurst memory is Dick Johnson, 1983, Hardy's Heroes, when he crashed into the trees.
Oh, monster.
Yeah, this is a huge stunt. The fact that he walked out of this thing, I think Brock was on his warm-up lap to do his lap. He picked him up and took him back to the pits. But then the story of rebuilding that car and trying to go again. And then this was my very first start in 1998. And I clearly remember on the grid, the red light came on, thinking, I'm usually watching this on the couch. And I had just had enough time to react, the light went off and away we go, because it just grabbed your attention. It's like, wow, this is a big deal when you're a young kid making your first start.
Yeah. I think what also makes Bathurst so iconic is the characters that have evolved and carved out their legacies through their exploits on the mountain. Who are some of those early characters for you, Mark, that really put Bathurst on the map?
Well, I don't think you can talk about Mount Panorama and Bathurst without saying the king of the mountain as in Peter Brock. I mean, to win 9 times up there and just to be so emphatic in terms of his performances. He won in 1979 by 6 laps, Jess. Broke the lap record on the last lap. So just extraordinary. The other one for me was Jim Richards. I mean, I was lucky enough to win some races with him up there, and he was able to say to the crowd on that day, you're a pack of wonderful people. So he made good for 1992.
Yeah, that goes down in folklore, that story. For you, Garth, who were those preeminent characters?
Oh, the one for me that stands out was Alan Moffat, because he was all year was about Bathurst. So, you know, the Touring Car Championship as it was back then was just warming up to get to Bathurst. And so for me, Moffat, and also Larry Perkins was very much like that. And like Larry was durability testing all season to make sure his car would do 1,000 Ks. But like Moff, his presentation was immaculate. It was everything, the attention to detail. Like he was the first, I think, that was really like that.
Yep.
And then Larry, who was probably a little bit different, a bit of bush mechanics type engineering, but the preparation was all Bathurst. It was all season was make sure the car will do 1,000 kilometres and do it flat out. And I thought those two guys really epitomised what Bathurst was all about.
Yeah.
I think what some of those old images from yesterday really captured too, and we see it, you know, in the telecast in the modern day, is just the sheer number of people that converge on this tiny little town in New South Wales, and they are diehards.
Yep.
They had to pick probably a long time ago where they were going to be red or blue, and it's been amazing to see how that tribalism filters down through generations for families and friends. What was it like performing in that arena with all of those screaming fans who are so invested?
I don't think there's anything like it. Just if you're lucky enough to be leading on the last lap and you go across the top of the mountain, you can hear the crowd. It's just unbelievable. And I think what it does, it's the substance, it's the theatrics of the weekend. So if you're standing there on the grid, and I'm sure you're the same, you're standing there on the grid and the Australian anthem goes, this is big time.
I really enjoy the parade lap when we go around and waving to the crowd. And I mean, you work on the 50% rule. 50% love you and 50% hate you. And as long as you embrace those that aren't going to be supporting you that day and enjoy it, I think it's fantastic. I mean, they don't parade the AFL guys around the MCG before the game, so you don't get to feel that energy before the game, and I really enjoy that as part of our lead-up.
Well, last year we parked the cars up at the top of the mountain. They got out and said hello to the crowd, and that was absolutely one of the highlights of the weekend. That's going to happen again this year, which will be epic to be a part of that. All right, here's a reminder of who the main characters are for the Repco Bathurst 1000 in 2025.
Winning combinations, Supercars legends, and some fresh faces at the beginning of their journey. Here's how the 27 entries line up for the Ryco Enduro Cup. The Red Bull Ampol Racing team enter the Enduros with an unchanged team, with Repco Sprint Cup champion Brock Feeney back with Jamie Whincup for a fourth Enduro campaign together, and reigning Supercars champion Will Brown together again with Scott Pye, a combo that won the 500 last year. Next in the lane is Penrite Racing, finals-bound Matt Payne paired again with five-time Bathurst winner Garth Tanderb. While on the other side of the garage, young gun Kai Allen will benefit from the experience of Enduro regular Dale Wood. Monster Castrol Racing have put together two very tough lineups. Cam Waters will shoot for his first Bathurst win with a returning Mark Winterbottom, a quite sumptuous duo that combined for the second most race starts in the field. While James Moffat moves across to Thomas Randall's Mustang, a driver who needs to score big to secure a spot in the finals. If there's one thing that Walkinshaw and Drury United knows, it's how to tackle the Enduros. And this year, they'll tackle them with a killer lineup. Chaz Mostert will fight for a third Bathurst win with experienced peddler Fabian Coulthard for company, while a pair of rising young guns will share car two. That's Ryan Wood and Jaden Ojeda. Bathurst is where the Dick Johnson racing legend was born, and the famous team returns again, this time with the reigning Great Race winners in Shell colours. That is, of course, Brodie Kostecki and Todd Hazelwood back to defend their crown, while the famous number 17 will be piloted by Will Davison and Tony D'Alberto back for a 10th year with the team. There's not a single fan of the sport that would begrudge Brad Jones Racing winning an Enduro, especially Bathurst. And they have the most chances in the field with 4 cars in their stable. Andre Heimgartner and Declan Fraser work together again. Bryce Fullwood welcomes Brad Vaughan, he was a wildcard last year. Macaulay Jones and Jordan Boys team up again. And Jack Smith returns to his family team to drive with regular steerer Jackson Evans. Team 18 are yet to win a major endurance race and have called on a mix of youth and experience to get the job done this time. Porsche ace Harry Jones makes his Supercars debut with Anton De Pasquale, and David Reynolds and Lee Holdsworth form the most experienced combination on the grid, who by the end of the Enduros will have racked up a combined 999 Supercars starts. Speaking of experience, Matt Stone Racing have plenty of that in their combo of Nick Percat and Tim Slade. Adjacent to them is the relatively inexperienced pairing of Cam Hill and Cam McLeod. Premier Newlon Racing grabbed an Enduro podium last year with James Golding and Dave Russell, no need to split them up, while rookie Nash Morris will hope to follow in the footsteps of his famous father Paul and will partner with Richie Stanaway, a driver that has won both the 500 and 1000k races. Reigning winners Erebus will throw the keys to the kids this year, with Jack LeBrock taking on Jared Hughes for his debut, and another rookie in Job Stewart together with Cooper Murray. Blanchard Racing Team retain the services of Jack Perkins with his good mate James Courtney, and Aaron Cameron welcomes Zach Best back to Supercars after a year off the grid. Throw in the 3 wildcards of Cameron Crick and Aaron Seaton at Matt Stone Racing, first-timers Rylan Gray and Lockie Dalton at Tickford Autosport, and the Make It Super 888 wildcard of Zach Bates and none other than 7-time Bathurst winning legend Craig Lowndes. And you have quite the exciting grid filled with intrigue and expectations, ready to tackle the Ryco Enduro Cup.
Now go, 0 from the knock on. Yep. Now go, 0 from the knock on.
Smith to Crichton to Smith to Nwangani to Wase! The Roosters